Hi everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to be talking about your brush palette, which is the little icon up here of the pencil and the paintbrush head. So as soon as I bring that up, you'll see here that I've got my brushes here. You'll have a selection of default brushes from when you download the program, and you can continue to add brushes in here as you find things that you use quite often, and I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. First off, you can reduce the size of this. You can scroll up and down to make it smaller. You can move it anywhere on your screen, and you can certainly close it as well, so it's out of your way. Alright, so like I said, you'll open this up and you'll have a bunch of preset brushes and smudges and erasers, okay? Each one of these will do something different depending on what you're wanting to do. You can even change the size and so on. You can see that the opacity or the intensity of the color will change depending on the brush tool or thing that you are using. So just be aware of that if you're wanting something that's quite a solid color or softer or thinner or thicker, depending on those brushes. So they're the default ones that I have. If you are wanting to change the size of your brush, you can use your brackets, and you'll notice down the bottom of my screen I've got a size in blue, and when I use one bracket, it reduces size. When I use the other bracket, it increases the size. You also have a thing called your brush puck, which is this one here. This will allow you to change the size as well. So you just click and hold, and you can scale it up. Okay, that's an option. It's not one that I particularly like using. I like my shortcut on my keyboard. But if you're in a tablet mode, you don't have your keyboard to use. So it's always good to know that you've got your brush puck to play around with. Okay, which brings us down to here. So we've got a smear option, which will smear everything that you've drawn. You have a blur option. Now this will just blur. It won't intensify the more you do it. It'll just blur once in the one way. And then you have this little guy here. And you'll see that kind of taking lines out of that there. Alright, which is your sharpen. So it's just playing, I don't know if you can really see it. It's basically playing around there with my brushes. Okay, you then have your hard erase, alright, which is quite a solid line when it erases, or you've got a soft erase, which will kind of just take off, and you've got to go more depending on how much you want to remove. So if you want a solid color or a reduction color, so if I just quickly show you that again, so it's a little bit clearer. For argument's sake, let me just get a solid color in here. Okay, so for the hard erase, it's going to completely erase, and with the soft erase, it's basically, you've got to go over the one area quite a bit to get down to the color you're wanting. So it's really important to know that you've got those two options, because you're going to at different times want to completely erase something, but then maybe just soften the edge of something as well. Okay, so they're your presets that you have. I've got a little brush down here. I was playing around with how to add brushes in here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you that now. The first thing I want to do though before I do that, so the common thing that I use is my paintbrush. It's really easy, it's quite consistent. And it's something that I'm familiar with as an artist to use a paintbrush, and so I like that style. This little section here, your brush properties, if you click on that, you'll notice that these come up. So you can, I'm just going to reduce the size of this so it's not big. Okay, so here you can see that I can change the size of my brush as well. So if you don't have the puck to play around with, you can change it here. You can either scroll it up and change, and you notice in my preview there, it's showing me what it's going to look like on my screen. I can also change it by clicking up and down here, and I can even click in here and just write in the size I want as well. Okay, and the density as well. So if it's going to be light or if it's going to be quite solid. Again, you can change that here, or you can simply write it in there. Okay, you can reset. So if you set this and you're like, I really like size 16 at density 89, I can reset so that my brush will be that next time I go to use it. So if you're quite used to doing something the same way, you can create those options there. If brush, I'm in the Copic, but say I have my brush and I really like using my brush and I want several brushes, I could have several brushes here with different presets to use. So there's a lot of options that you can use. just be aware that it will keep that option. It won't go back to your preset. So whenever you make those changes, it'll keep those changes until you change it again. So if you make a change and you don't like it, you need to go back and just be aware of what it was before you start playing around. So that's your brush properties. So you can make changes, and you can do that to any of these. Okay, the density, the opacity, so that's how see through or how solid the color is if you're not quite familiar with opacity. Okay, all right, which brings us to our brush library, which is this little one here. Okay, so these are all the brushes and erasers and different things that I have access to, not just the ones that are here. Like I said, if there's anything that you really, really like, you can make it as a preset down here. So when you first download SketchBook, you will have a bunch of preset brushes available for you. But be aware that this is not limited. You can go to the SketchBook main website and you can download brush packs for free. You just install them, you download it, and they automatically show up in here. So you can see that I've downloaded some really cool texture brushes, brushes with shapes, splatters if you really like that kind of like splatter look. It's really cool glow effects, smudging tools if you're really into like the aesthetic of drawing, pastels, charcoals. All of these are going to have really cool things. This is a really great one that I came across, which is cross-hatching, so it'll do the cross-hatching for you, which is really cool if you're into drawing animals and you want some really cool fur. So basically you can go onto the website and you can download more brushes and tools from there. Play around, see what you like, see what you don't like. And like I said before, so these are my basics. So I can remove these if I want to. I can move them around. And I can add to, I can even change what order these in. So if I want certain brushes at the top, so I've got quick access all the time, you can do that as well. Quick little options here. So if you want to copy the brush or make a duplicate, make changes, like I said, you could have several paint options with different sizing and opacities. And you can basically play around with that. And yeah, just play around, see what you like. So let's say that I like this fine liner, I can drag it over to here and it's now in my my automatic one as soon as I open it up. So as soon as I open up here, I've got it here, quick options. So you can customize these, you can put whatever you like using all the time in here, and you can take away the ones that you don't want. You can make it quite personal. So that is your your brush palettes, all the things that you can use to make marks and smears and erasing and stuff like that. So I recommend just getting it out and playing around and seeing what you like. Yeah, have fun playing around with your brushes. All right, guys, see you later.